Hello everyone and welcome to Callsign Charlie Models and welcome back to part 5 of the PBY Catalina in 1/32 scale from HPH Models. So moving right along on part 4, we got done with all of the interior painting and framing and all of that. So up next what we have to do is the decals for some of the interior parts. Just like the doors, the locked, and then a couple other placards going on, and also the frame numbers right here as well. So gonna start on all that, and I have that all set up, and then I had the instructions printed up, but I am not really able to get a good shot of where these decals go, so I do have the instructions pulled up on my tablet, and as you can see there's a good amount of decals that go on through these pieces. Now some of these will be added again later on once I get, like, this is the radio operator's desk, get that done, and then a few other parts that are getting added on later on will get decals. But for now we have the frame numbers or bulkhead numbers and a couple parts for the doors, and then a couple other decals as well. So it's really are you going to be able to see it? No, but I'm still going to do it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start on these decals, and we'll get going. I have my bowl of warm water ready on my candle warmer right here. It keeps my water nice and warm for as long as I want to decal. So we have that set up. We have the decals, we have all the bulkheads, we have the side right here. So I'm just going to go by the instructions, and we're going to move block by block on what we can get done here. So moving right forward. So while I'm doing these decals, I'm noticing I painted a few of the boxes the wrong color because the decals are black and then I painted the box black. So those decals won't necessarily get used, but luckily this area is really not going to be visible. So just a heads up on that. Pay attention to where the decals are going to be going and the colors that you're going to be painting the boxes, because I remembered a lot of the boxes being black when I was initially looking at the instructions. So I painted a lot of them black. I painted some of them the metallic gray, but so those I can have the decals on, but the black ones, no luck there. But luckily, like I said, you're not going to be able to see any of it, so, or much of it. Alright, so the decals are done, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and add the photo etch to the areas and actually probably glue in some of the stuff that needs to go in, like these boxes that go right here, and also the bottles. I'm going to go ahead and get all that glued in, and then I'm going to hit it with the clear coat to seal in the decals, and then I'll start weathering it as well. So that's where we're standing with that. So let me get the photo etch real quick. This is the bulkhead that gets the majority of the parts right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing all these in. There's our first bulkhead all done with the assembly parts. Now we get to weather that. So moving on, I think we have a couple more pieces to do, like this one. Alright, so we got all the parts added onto the bulkheads, minus the hatches, which, like I said earlier, I'm not going to add those until these are in, and also everything like the radio operators or the navigators or any of that is all added in. Those doors will go in because I don't want to risk breaking those off when I put those in. So we're right there again. I'm going to hit it all. Actually, really, I'm not going to need to hit it up with another clear coat because I really didn't do any decals on much of it. So I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to get started on the panel liner wash to get everything set. And then after that, we put on a matte coat, and then we'll start a little bit of chipping with that. So that's where we're standing. I'm going to go take a little break for a second, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so it's time to start with the weathering of the interior of this, and what we're going to start off with is a panel liner. We're just going to use some Tamiya panel line accent color. Using black on this, I'm kind of hesitant on this. Maybe it might be too stark of a contrast. We'll have to see, because typically I think I would use brown instead, but we'll have to see how this looks as we're moving forward. So we're just going to start doing all these, and then also have the main fuselage over there to come across as well. So I'm going to get to work. I'm not a fan of how that's turning out. Let's check out the brown. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. It's not as a slam in your face. We might not be doing this at all because I'm not getting any flow on these. I don't see there being that much of a difference, so I think we're not going to waste our time with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit everything up with the matte coat, and then after that we'll add a little bit of chipping, and then we'll start throwing things into the fuselage. So that's where we're standing with that, because that's about, and plus also with how much of this you're going to be able to see, I mean, it's really not that huge of a thing for this. I mean, you are barely going to be able to see any of this, maybe even just shadows if you can see it at all. So that's where we're going to go with that. So I'm going to get off camera. I'm going to go hit this stuff up with the matte coat, and then we got to wait for that to dry, and then we can start looking at getting this stuff into the fuselage. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, so moving along with Catalina, we got the clear parts in. Started off, I wanted to get that done after I got the matte coat on, before I started adding in all the bulkheads, because being able to get my fingers in there to really help get this settled in really was crucial to this. So I used the clear parts from HPH. They look pretty clear. I'm hoping that when everything is closed up you'll be able to see them. And then up here for the flight engineers area, so they want, this is the window, the square window for this oblong window right here. So instead of taking this and then cutting it down and sanding it and trying to get it the right shape and then sanding it too much and then completely botching everything, what I did was I just took some tape, I taped off the back end of it, and then I used my UV clear liquid resin right here, applied that in, and then used my UV light to let it dry. Now, it's great because it's nice and flush and it fills everything perfect, right? And then even if there is some little mistakes here and there, which I'm not seeing any right now, there is a piece of photo-etch that goes around there, so that's really going to help that stick out. Problem with using the tape, alright? So on the front end is crystal clear. When I was doing it, I was like, dang, this looks really good. Then I removed the tape, and what happened was the adhesive from the tape, when I was using the UV light, dried into the glue or into the UV resin. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do a light sand right in here and then polish that back up, and I should be good to go. But either way, you wouldn't really be able to see much inside of here anyways, because the wing is going to be up over here like so. And just to get in there and plus it's going to be attached to a diorama, so being able to get around this model is going to be pretty difficult. But I still want to make sure that it looks crystal clear, because when you're looking at it from eye level, you can kind of see some of the smudge on the window right there. So that's going to get taken care of. And then also I'm going to clean up these windows right here. They got some dust from my fingers when I was holding them in place. But for actually attaching all the windows into here, I did use that UV resin glue to attach everything, so that way I don't have to worry about fogging or any of that once everything gets sealed up. So that's what I'm going to be using to attach the rest of the clear parts as well. And plus also it does give you a lot of time to work with, so if it's not perfect then you can realign it and get it done, and it doesn't actually dry until you hit it with the UV light, and it dries pretty quickly when you hit it with the UV light. I would say probably 5 to 10 seconds for UV light exposure for it to be completely dry. Alright, so moving on, next I'm going to take care of the windows. Like I said, I'm going to polish the insides, get that done, and then we're going to start adding the bulkheads to the fuselage, and then after that we're going to move on with the radio operator section. So it's really coming together now, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. So I'll be back once I get this, once I start polishing this, which will be after probably tomorrow, and then yeah, so I'll be back in 1 second. Hello, and we are back with the Catalina. just had the fuselage glued together, or not glued together, taped together, so that way we can see an actual, like, how big this thing is gonna be, at least what the fuselage has right here. So we got everything taped together. Do have a few of the bulkheads in. I'll remove this tape so we can see the bulkheads inside. I had it taped together so that way the bulkheads did dry all lined up, and that way when I go to do the final assembly with the fuselage or the hull, whichever a flying boat body is called, that way everything lines up for that. So got 3 of the bulkheads in. This bulkhead, the cockpit bulkhead, and there's another bulkhead that goes up here. Those will be getting attached later on, but as you can see, let me get the rest of this tape off and pull it apart. There we go. And there we go. 3 of the bulkheads are all in. I use the 2-part epoxy to get that glued in so it's nice and sturdy. Also gave me a little bit of working time, so that way I could make sure everything was lined up properly on here and it's not going anywhere now. So did have a couple of the frames break off, which I will attach later on if they're even needed. So, but I am saving them just in case. So as you can see, there are going to be a few parts that are covered up or need to be trimmed off in the future. Alright, so that part is done. Up next, what we're going to start working on is the navigator and the radio operators section. So as you can see here in the instructions, alright, so we got to get the desk all done right here in the seat, and then after we're done painting, we're going to have some photo etch to add to this as well. Let me get this on. Sorry about my light, but so we have some photo etch to add to here. Also have a map that HGW included as well to throw on this desk as well. And then also moving forward, we have the radio operators desk right in here, and that's also going to have a lot of photo etch going in there. And then moving right along, we have a bunch of little pieces to get ready to go. And then after that, we are getting everything attached in. So we have a bunch of parts to go onto the sidewalls, a seat, which also both seats require seat belts as well. If I can get this to load up. So as you can see right here, there is a seat belt on there as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get off of here. We're going to start getting all the parts off of the wafers and separated for paint. That's how it's going to look after everything is done on both, or on the radio operator side, and then for the navigator side, this is everything that's going into the radio operator or the navigator section, as you can see there. So when all of this is painted up and everything is added, this is going to look absolutely amazing. Alright, so I'm going to get off of here and I am going to get to work on getting all of these off the wafers like I did with the frames and the longitudinal and transverse framing as well. So I will be back in 1 second once I get all this ready to go and ready for paint. Alright, back with the Catalina, again moving right along, getting a lot done on here. As you can see, we still have the bulkheads in, and that is all done. We did have a few of the longitudinal frames on this side pop off, but luckily I still do have them, and I'm going to attach them later on. Now what was just completed was I got all the radio and navigator section pre-painted. So we have all these small parts with the base coat of aluminum right here. So after up next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this with the interior green. That's really not the best part to show, but we're going to paint it with the interior green for what needs to be interior green, like the framing, the seat right here, and then some of the boxes maybe, and then the desk as well. get all that painted up interior green, and then we have photo-etch to add in. We also have the navigator desk right here, looking pretty nice on that once it's all painted up. And then I'm also going to do add some chipping and stuff to here as well when that's all done. So also with the seats, let me go grab those real quick. Alright, so with the seats we have the HDW fabric seat belts, which really do look nice when they're all done. Now, getting them through the buckles is a little bit tedious, but when it's all said and done, it just looks 100 times better than the photo-etch seat belts. Because my experience with the photo-etch seat belts was you'd be bending them and then the paint would break off from the photo-etch. So this definitely a very nice addition to the kit, especially when you rub the fabric in between your fingers. The oil from your fingers actually makes them dirty, which is another nice touch. And then also another nice thing that we have with this is for the navigator desk, we do have a map or a chart, a chart right here that we can put on the navigator desk too, with the other navigation equipment, like where to go, right in here on these, as you can see. So we have a lot of that, and then we have a lot of photo etch to go onto the boxes that are for the box faces in the radio and navigator compartments. So showing you how it's going to look when everything is done, pulling out my tablet right here. So we have this, let me get the, that's not the light that really matters. Hold on a second. Alright, so looking at the navigator set or the radio operator section, we have all these parts to add in right along here. I still do need to get these floor decks ready and painted. We also have a couple other pieces to add in there as well. But going along here, you can see nice photos of everything going on. Didn't see that piece to add in, so we'll have to grab that one. But again, you see all the little details that's in there. And then again, that's the radio operators, then our navigators. We have all these boxes to add to the wall right in here, and then the navigator's desk as well, as you can see with the photo etch and everything going on there. Then after that, that's all the bulkheads are all done already, so we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But that's what we're doing. So up next, what we're going to be doing is painting all the interior stuff, getting the photo etch on, the seat belts on, and getting everything ready to go. This is really going to start to come alive, especially when I get that in, those two sections done. But this is going to do it for part 5 of the HPH PBY Catalina build. And yeah, so thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below, and hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos, like part 6 to the PBY Catalina build. But yeah, this is actually coming together really nice, really fun to build. A lot of work to get done, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely going to look awesome when it's all said and done, even though you won't be able to see any of the work that's being done in here, but that's besides the fact. But anyways, thank you for watching, and until next time, have a great day, stay frosty, and happy modeling.